Oh hey there, so I'm sure most of you are familiar with Ken Ham. He's the president of Answers in Genesis, which is the ministry behind the Creation Museum, which is that one place in Kentucky that embarrasses America like no other. I think the first time the world collectively pointed its finger and laughed at Ken Ham was back in 2008 for his clueless appearance in Bill Maher's Religious.
God is an infinite God who is working in ways we don't always understand.
You don't think that's a cop-out?
He is God. Are you God?
No.
And some of you probably only heard of Ken Ham earlier this year when he debated Bill Nye the Science Guy, and personally I'm not a fan of that debate at all. I actually kinda hate it when real scientists debate creationists as if they're like on the same level or something. I mean, if I ever see Neil deGrasse Tyson debate an astrologist, I would probably punch myself in the face with my foot. But I did enjoy the moment when things came full circle with Bill Maher and Bill Nye sitting down and making fun of Ken Ham together. It was kind of beautiful.
I watched the whole debate, you and Ken Ham, who's in my Religious movie. You know, I dealt with him too. You know, and,
he hadn't finished his museum when you made your...
No, and he also was very mad because he didn't know it was me coming to interview him. So he had a look on his face the whole time. You were so nice to him, and then I saw you on Lawrence O'Donnell's show say that you respect him. I'm like, really?
If I said that, I may have misspoken.
My favorite part of that was when Bill Nye was asked to give the simplest argument against creationism.
Listen, here's the thing. 46% of Americans believe the story of Genesis is true. So I just
It's amazing. It's astonishing.
I know that the world was created in 6 days. Just give because we're not scientists. Just give us the simplest answer you can. The first 2 or 3 things that come to your mind. Why the world is not 6,000 years old.
Well, they're trees.
Seriously, I think his entire debate with Ken Ham should have consisted of only 2 simple words. Bitch, trees.
Trees.
Within a few hours drive of here that are older than 6,800 years, the bristlecone pines.
How do we know the tree is 6,800 years old?
Well, you take a little stainless steel beautiful thing and you drill a little hole ever so carefully because you're from the Forest Service and you're very skilled, and you take it out and you count the little rings. This is what we did in the Boy Scouts.
I'm just...
It literally is.
Right.
Anyway, you may have heard that now Ken Ham is raising funds to build a full-scale version of Noah's Ark. For the first time ever! Except it's already been done, back in 2012 in the Netherlands. For Ken Ham's fans, that is a country. In a magical land far, far away, which normal people refer to as Europe. The ship was built by this Dutch creationist whose name I dare not pronounce, and it's supposed to be modeled after the real Ark. Which of course was never found because it never existed. This Ark replica supposedly features models of various animals including cows, penguins, a crocodile and a giraffe. Why just one giraffe? They're supposed to be in pairs. What happened to the other one? Oh, it probably got eaten by the crocodile. And what happened to the other crocodile? Oh, it probably got eaten by the cows. Believe it or not, this wasn't the first time somebody built a life-size rendition of the biblical Ark. In fact, the first country to do it was... Can you guess? Come on, it's really easy. Let's say it together. On 3, 2, 1... China! Huh? Indeed, the world's very first replica of the Ark that never existed was built in 2009 on Maoan Island in Hong Kong, China, by billionaire brothers and evangelical Christians Thomas and Raymond Kwok. I know, that's a lot to take in. As a side note, I'm sure that many of you are very happy right now. Because if you, like myself, have always wondered, if I were a Chinese evangelical billionaire, oh, what would I do? Well, now you know, so you can stop wondering and move on with your life. You're welcome. The Kwok brothers, who control a combined fortune of about $15 billion and who are never shy about declaring their strong Christian beliefs, are currently involved in a high-profile corruption trial and have been charged with paying millions of dollars in bribes to a top government official. Apparently, the Noah's Ark project was a front for allowing the brothers to develop luxury apartments on the island and force the villagers to relocate. Awkward. After being charged, Thomas Kwok declared during a press conference that the Bible's teachings act like a beacon, guiding me through the darkness. Oh, I'm sure the villagers you forcefully evicted were just ecstatic to hear that. Anyway, getting back on topic, Ken Ham is now raising funds to build a real-size rendition of Noah's Ark for the 3rd time ever! Isn't that lame?
I'm burdened again. What about the millions that haven't heard this message and need to hear this message? How do we reach millions more with the truth of God's Word and the gospel of Jesus Christ? Well, you know, Other than the cross, I believe the Ark of Noah is one of the greatest reminders we have of the message of salvation.
Aw, don't you just love it how one of the greatest reminders of the message of salvation is that one time when God killed everybody? Oops.
Imagine if we were to rebuild Noah's Ark. The size of the Ark, out of wood, to look like a real boat.
Now some people are upset about this ark being built, and it's not just an ark, it's an entire Bible Noah-themed park.
What a reminder this would be. In fact, we call the project Ark Encounter. Rebuilding Noah's Ark, that's only phase 1. We have other phases planned as well. We've master planned an entire park to go with Noah's Ark.
Personally, I'm not against it. I would treat it just like any other amusement park centered around fictional stories and characters. You know, the Ark Encounter, Disneyland, the Harry Potter parks. Fun times. The problem is that Ken Ham is not just building an amusement park with the Ark as a centerpiece, which would be totally fine, but he's claiming historical accuracy, that this is the truth. Things really happened this way. Very important chapter in our history. Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, no.
The animals, trap, trap, trap till the cages full.
Now, of course, flood geology has been debunked to the point of exhaustion, but it's still funny to watch creationists scramble for answers. Like, how about the dinosaurs? Were there dinosaurs on the Ark? Disclaimer to the following clip, the softcore porn music you'll hear in the background was added by Ken Ham, not by me. Oh Ken, don't worry, I'm not judging.
See, the Bible tells us that God made the land animals on day 6 of creation. And who else was created on day 6? Well, Adam and Eve. And how long ago was that? Well, when you add up all the dates in the Bible, about 6,000 years. So, taking God at his word in Genesis, dinosaurs lived beside people about 6,000 years ago. Then the Bible tells us that there was a global flood and 2 of every kind of land-dwelling, air-breathing animal went on board the boat that Noah built. And you actually work through it, there's probably less than 50 dinosaur kinds. The T-Rex type kind, the raptor type kind, the sauropod type kind.
So right about now you're probably wondering, what the hell is a type kind? Does that correspond to a biological classification? Is that family? Is that species? What is that? No one knows.
Put your hand up if you agree dinosaurs went on Noah's Ark. That's great. Parasaurolophus, Pachycephalosaurus, Judiomoma, Psittacosaurus, Tanystrophes, Brachiosaurus, Brontosaurus, Allosaurus, Supersaurus, Seismosaurus, Tyrannosaurus.
I do have to say that the mental image of old man Noah herding a bunch of dinosaurs to the Ark is... Oh no, because you see, the animals gingerly got to the Ark on their own. Right. And what about after the flood ended? Did they also gingerly travel from the mountains of Ararat back to their respective habitats? I guess the kangaroos just hopped away to Australia. And the penguins did this all the way to Antarctica. And oh man, I don't even want to think about the sloths.
Wait, what?
Not to mention, how did they all fit in the Ark in the first place? There are millions of species of land-dwelling animals. I think you forgot that the animals were not selected by species, but by...
type kind.
Okay, well, whatever that biblical kind is, no one knows. You would then have to explain how they evolved so rapidly into the millions of species that exist today. Evolution? Oh no. And how did Noah's small family manage to care for all these animals? Some of them are strict carnivores. What did they eat? And what about the herbivores? Not to mention that some of these animals require very strict diets. And one of my favorites, what about the waste disposal? Since the Ark's deck was below the waterline, the manure from the animals would have to be carried up the deck and then thrown over. That's literally tons of shit every day to be handled by only 8 people. As for the animals on the Ark, how did they ultimately survive inbreeding? If there was one single mating pair to start with? How did the fish and the marine life that we have today survive when fresh water mixed with salt water? I do hope that when the Ark Encounter project is finished and open to the public, the people, and especially the kids who go there, will ask all the right questions. But you know what I would love more than anything? That when Ken Ham tries to answer with something, anything, that's not directly taken from the Bible, there would be at least one really annoying kid to counter everything with,
"Were you there?"
Next time you hear on television somebody say millions of years ago, what's the question we're going to ask them? Were you there? Were you there? Call them up on the telephone and say, "Excuse me, Mr. TV man, were you there?" Let's say it again. Were you